This is the year 1947. The struggle of all Indians came to an end. We got independence. The dark night of slavery and pain finally had a beautiful sunrise. But who knew another heart-wrenching war with Pakistan was just around the corner? This war was fought under the command of a British official even after independence. So, who was the first Indian Commander-in-Chief of the Indian Army? Why do we celebrate 15 January as Army Day? Do you know there was an officer who questioned Jawaharlal Nehru's position as PM? Do you know there was an officer who was such a patriot that he chose Mother India over his own son? Hi, I'm Meenal and today we are going to talk about Army Day and its essence. We celebrate the glory of Army Day, a day dedicated to our Indian Army to pay a tribute to all those soldiers who have sacrificed their life for our mother nation. Our army is the second largest army in the world. We have the second largest active manpower in the world. Isn't it amazing? And we are one of those nations who have nuclear power. Why is that special? Because not every country has it. Our army is expected to become the fourth highest military spender by 2022. The Indian Army is one of the strongest forces who is keenly active to protect the nation against attacks and infiltration. The motto of the Indian Army is Service Before Self. We celebrate the Army Day on 15th of January every year in recognition of Field Marshal Gordon Dara M. Cariappa's taking over as the first Commander-in-Chief in the Indian Army from General Sir Francis Butcher, who was the last British Commander-in-Chief of India on this very day in 1949. Do you know that the Indian Army was established on 1st April 1895, but we celebrate Army Day on the 15th of January. We got our freedom after 200 years of slavery. Along with independence, there was a rule of anarchy. The massacre was rampant and the refugees also had their problems. The army in this situation had to take charge and came forward in order to establish peace during partition. The history of Indian Army Day is glorious. After India achieved independence on the 15th of August 1947, the Indian Armed Forces were to be divided into two newly built nations, India and Pakistan. So, in 1948, out of the 10 Gorkha regiments, 4 were transferred to the British Army and the remaining 6 were distributed between India and Pakistan. Till 1949, the Indian Army was not headed by any Indian officer. And finally, on 15 January 1949, the then Lieutenant General K.M. Cariappa took temporary commission in the Indian Army in 1990. Cariappa took over the charge as the first Commander-in-Chief in Indian Army. The story of Cariappa is very interesting. Before he could even take the charge of the Indian Army, we were under attack by Pakistan. He was a very professional soldier and a very strong diplomat. General Cariappa took temporary commission in the Indian Army in 1990. The Britishers knew they could never suppress Cariappa on the basis of his strength and ability. But by stating the rules of law, his promotion was definitely bad. He became the first Indian officer to go to Staff College, command a battalion, and the first Indian to go to the Defence College. There is an interesting story behind the selection of Cariappa as the Commander-in-Chief. When the selection meeting for deciding the first Army Chief was going on, Nehruji said that when no Indian has the experience, then why don't we appoint a British officer as an Army Chief? On this, Cariappa had an amazing response. He said, nobody even has experience in running a nation, so why not we appoint a British officer as a Prime Minister? Courage, right? Who would have even thought of answering the Prime Minister like this? Eventually, Cariappa was selected as the Army Chief on the basis of the experience amongst the all shortlisted. He served the nation till 1953, fought Pakistan in the 1948 war, and had a policy of non-interference by the government of India. Since then, our army is very apolitical. Even Cariappa's son fought Pakistan in 1965 war and became a prisoner of war. When General Ayub Khan, who by the way was Cariappa's junior before independence, was the president of the Pakistan that time, got to know about his son, he immediately called Cariappa. He said, Pakistan can release your son if you want. But Cariappa said no. If you want to release my son, you have to release all the prisoners of war. Though after 4 months, his son came back home. But isn't it commendable what a gem he was? The Indian Army Day is celebrated every year in order to pay tribute to all the war heroes who sacrificed their life for our nation. A tribute is given to all the martyrs of the Indian Army at Amar Jawan Jyoti situated at India Gate in New Delhi. Different shows are organized at different locations all throughout the country. On this day, the Indian Army showcases its tanks, missiles, carriers, modern arms and other weapons as the power of Indian Army. On this day, for the Indian Army, the honor ceremony is executed to honor brave soldiers of the Indian Army. Today, Team Shiksha salutes the Indian Army for its valor, courage, services, dedication, and everything it stands for. Jai Hind.